Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Saturday, March 9th of 2024. We're out in the orchard and this is Calvel Blanc. As you can see, the buds on this tree, even though it's early March, are at the silver tip stage or maybe even a little bit past that, which is not good news. And this is pretty typical this year. It's been a wild winter, a mild winter, but also wild late winter, early spring where we had some 70-degree days, 60-degree days, and then it's 30 degrees the next day. And you'll see at the end of this video, tomorrow it's going to snow, and you'll see that at the end. But one of the things that people often ask or wonder about is, what can I do? You know, my fruit trees are waking up. Well, there's really not much you can do, to be honest. The only thing you can do is get varieties that flower late. This is Pitmaston pineapple. As you can see, it's right next to the Calvel Blanc apple, but this one, the buds are just hard and closed still. Those won't wake up until late May. It's a very late variety, maybe even Memorial Day. Same thing as our Northern Spy tree. Last year when we had that late frost in May, the Northern Spy wasn't even flowering yet, so it wasn't affected by that. By the time it flowered, it was Memorial Day, and then we ended up with 2 bushels of apples on that tree. We had some Calvel Blanc, but nothing else really, just a few here and there because of that late frost. Here's another example of variety and how it affects flowering stages. This is Spitzenberg. This is our multi-grafted tree, so this has 20 varieties of apples on it. So it's a great laboratory to show. Right next to it and the branch over is Darcy Spice right here, and those buds haven't even started to develop yet. If we go around to the other side, there's, as I said, 20 different kinds here. So even on the same tree, this is rosemary russet. Also, those buds are very dormant. There's a couple of branches of that. But even on the same tree, you can see the effect that variety has. This is Cox Orange Pippin. Hard to see a little bit with the sky, but you can see some of those are a little bit further ahead. Most of these grafts are 4 years old that I'm showing now, so they may actually fruit this year if we get lucky. We'll see with the frost and with everything else. That is the just the base tree, which is golden russet. This is a Granny Smith. I just did that one a year or two ago, so they won't flower anyway yet, but you can kind of see the buds there. Black Oxford, looks like a bird or something's been pecking at that. I don't know what's going on there. This is Phenolillet Gris or Anise Russet, also very dormant. So it's just kind of cool to see, even on the exact same tree, multiple varieties can do all sorts of different things based on what they are. Here's Winter Banana, so check this one out. That is really far along, and so it's right next to those other apples that are still dormant. So just kind of a cool demonstration of variety even on the exact same tree. But a lot of things play into it. Variety is the biggest one. Of course, your microclimate, your zone, where you are. We're in southwest New York in zone 5, but we're also kind of in the hills of southwest New York, and so the elevation will typically protect us from a lot of things waking up too early. It usually stays cold here for a long time, which, although it's kind of a bummer in some ways, if you grow fruit trees, it's a good thing because they just don't wake up early because it's cold for so long. By the time they get going, it's usually just the late frost you have to worry about. This is a Kid's Orange Red, as you can see, was pretty decent for this time of year. This is the Blue Pearmain on a Bud 9 rootstock. Also, not terrible for this time of year, a little further along than I would like, but like I said, tomorrow it's going to snow, so that should help some. But you know, you're going to get these crazy fluctuations every year, and no 2 springs are the same, and until you grow fruit trees, you may not really care about it all that much. But as soon as you start growing fruit trees, I've noticed you really care about the spring weather a lot more than you ever thought you would. This is Golden Russet on Geneva 11 rootstock, and as you can see, way too far ahead, like silver tip, I would say plus even. This tree, it just every year gets beautiful flowers, and the frost just zaps it. And it's weird because that's a New York State variety. It's native to New York. It's actually native to Western New York, where it comes from. But for some reason, maybe it's the fence there, the warmth, it could be. But I can at least put a tarp over it pretty easily and use the fence to help kind of make like a greenhouse. So I'm going to do that this year because that's my favorite apple, is golden russet. But one of the things you can do too, of course, is just plant some different varieties, plant a good selection, and just make sure you have a couple later ones, and that's, a good fail-safe. Case in point, here is our northern spy tree. Never been pruned. Don't tell the pruning police. We had 2 bushels of apples off of this last year, by the way. So anyone who says you have to prune apple trees to get fruit they're just wrong. That doesn't mean you shouldn't prune, but you don't have to. These buds also really, really undeveloped still. As I said last year, I don't think this thing even flowered until it was like Memorial Day weekend when this thing was flowering. So that protects it. It's a built-in protection. Another New York State variety, but this one stays dormant really, really late into the spring, which is perfect. So Northern Spy is a great one to grow if you're always having problems with your trees waking up too early. Same with Pitmaster and Pineapple. So here it is the next day, Sunday. So one day later, it was about 55, 60 degrees when I was filming yesterday. Today it's winter again, which I've never been so happy to see snow in March because the trees really needed something to check their growth. We'll talk a little bit more about the pruning aspect because I think that's an interesting video too. We've seen a lot of comments in the apple growing forums and stuff like that about that. So we'll get into that in a video to come soon. But until then, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.